wanted to stop and take a moment to do an intro for a little bit of a bear encounter video that I'm going to show you here in just a second. The video is pretty short, and I will be honest, the camera work isn't super good, mostly on my part. Kyler, he got some decent footage until the bear disappeared in the trees, but to kind of set the story up, the three of us and AJ Smith, one of our buddies, who actually just flew out to Oklahoma to join the Army.
Yeah, on Monday.
Go be a combat medic. So, we thank him for his service and wish him the best of luck. But we climbed 3,000 feet to get to this real special honey hole hunting spot that I've got. When we get to the top, which was an adventure in itself because we all had anywhere from 60 to 80 pound packs on. We get to the top and AJ happens to spot a bear about 300 or 400 yards across over in an open meadow. So we'd come up this side, we're sitting on top, we'd be looking kind of off to our left. And we see this bear. Dan has a bear tag. So, he was all about it. Yeah. Okay, let's do it. And we had two options. One, we could stay on the east side of the ridge, or the mountain ridge, the very crest of the ridge, go around the bear and then come down into the timber that he was in. Or, my suggestion was that we stay on the side we were on and call him across the big opening. And I'd called bears in before, so I knew we could probably do it, but these guys had never been a part of that, so I just asked Dan. I said, "You want to go for it?"
Yeah.
But he was all over it. So Kyler, he didn't want to call the bear into him, so he just stayed up top.
Well, I'm not too comfortable with bears getting in my face,
So I knew if I could get the bear's attention with like a calf elk in distress call. He was within like 300 or 400 yards, like I said, and it was open. We could see him. I knew there was a decent chance of getting him to come to us. The wind was coming down, so I knew that he was going to try and wind us as he got closer. So he would go below me where I was calling and sweep around. So I had Dan, I don't know, how far were you down below me?
Probably 60, 70 yards.
Yeah, so I had just had Dan go down below me because I knew the bear would come, and circle down below me to try and get my wind. And we got set up, and I give a couple squeals on my reed, my cow elk call. I think I was using a Primos ivory plate. And the bear, as soon as I squealed, he picked his head up right away.
Yeah.
And we couldn't see him right away.
Yeah.
You had the best view of him when I first squealed.
Yeah, I was watching him. Me and AJ were actually sitting up top, kind of still watching, seeing what he was doing, because when we first spotted him, he was kind of breaking into some trees and getting some grub out of it. And we were sitting there while these two went down the hill a little bit from us. We were watching him, and he actually started making our way to us when we were up top of the hill, and we were kind of a little nervous on what he was going to do, because he was starting to make it look like he was coming right to us, going to cross that meadow to us. And then next thing you know, I couldn't hear Clayton down below us, but he perked up his ears, and sure as like no other, he went running. He perked up his ears, looked down, and you could tell he spotted right where that area was. And he made the boogie for it then.
So what? Yeah, he couldn't hear me. When I let out that first call, the bear just perked up his head right away, and Dan was set. He was ready to go, and this was with a bow. He was going to shoot this bear with a bow, so I was going to call him in close. Well, I didn't think I would call the bear in this close, because when I let out the first squeal, I got the bear's attention. He kind of come walking across the meadow towards us, and that's when these guys were starting to get nervous, because he was kind of circling the top of the drainage towards these guys. But then I just put on and you'll hear it in the video, it sounds horrible, but I just put on a real desperate squeal. Like I just kind of get in the mode like, okay, I'm a calf elk, I'm getting ripped up here. And, you want to talk about work. I let that kind of real desperate squeal go on there, and he just picked up his head and just started running at us. At this point, my camera work's starting to get a little shaky because he's coming really hard. And bears will do that, and I knew that, but I'm thinking, okay, we're up here with bows, and I had my 40 with me. So the bear kind of comes, and he's going to disappear in the video from you as he's running. And then the next frame, you're going to see me looking down towards Dan, and you can't see Dan, he's in the trees. And I couldn't exactly see what the bear was doing, so I was trying to keep his attention there because I didn't know if Dan had a shot or not. So I squeal again. Well, the bear wasn't what Dan was looking for. He was pretty small, but we're talking, he went so close to Dan that Dan almost had to kill him out of self-defense. How close was he?
3 or 4 yards. I paced it off after
Like,
he took off.
From
And
here
it
to the
was-
camera.
I could hear
Easy.
I could hear him breathing, and I could smell him and hear him breathing. And he saw me and kind of did a double take. You know, it was like, and then he acted
And then
like
I
he was going to
squealed
walk
right
away.
then.
Yeah, and then he acted like he was going to walk away, and then I don't know if he caught our wind or what, but he kind of took off towards the trees, and then it got kind of personal again.
It got real personal for me because I can't see him, so I don't know exactly what's happening. Now I've got my camera up, but I've also got my bow and my pistol on my left side. You know, I should have switched hands. Because at that point, I had the camera just sitting on my hand instead of in the strap so that I could drop it if I had to. Well, so he has his encounter with Dan, and I put my little squeal on him just to kind of hold him in the area. Well, he comes running right at me. So when in the video, you're going to see me I'm videoing trees, and then you hear me squeal, and next thing you know, the bear comes running straight at the camera. And it's hard to tell the distance in the camera, but he ran straight at me, and the camera's going to kind of go up over his back a little bit, because at that time, I wasn't even looking at the camera. I was looking at trying to get my pistol up, because I thought he was going to come right to me. Well, the bear ended up turning off like maybe 10 feet in front of me, and the camera falls off my hand because I've got my pistol up then. But anyhow, just wanted to give you a little bit of an introduction into this little bit of a bear video. And I'd kind of teased you with a little bit on Facebook that I was going to put this up, but I thought it'd be good to have the story with some of the guys that were there, because I don't know if any of you guys had ever been in on a calling in a bear.
No, that was the first time I'd ever even tried or thought of it.
Yeah, that was first for me too.
It's pretty neat. And on bears, a lot of times when you're calling them in, they kind of have ADD, because sometimes they'll come in like that one did,
right,
and then sometimes you just got to keep calling and keep calling and keep calling just to keep their attention.
Right.
But,
Yep.
it doesn't work all the time, but when they come, they usually come pretty hard.
Yep.
So it was pretty neat experience. Very, very close encounter with this black bear. I wish he was bigger, because we'd have a big trophy sitting here. But just the experience alone.
Yeah.
We went up there, spent a night up on top of the mountain, just a bunch of buddies hanging out, and had a great time.
Oh,
It
yeah.
was a trip of a lifetime, especially considering the effort we had to put into it to get to that spot.
Yeah.
So we literally climbed 3,000 feet in 2 miles, mile and a half, 2 miles.
Yeah.
So
Not far.
straight up. And so we'll show you the clip, watch it, and then we'll talk a little bit more about the trip at the end of the clip. So at this point, we are moving down to get set, and I'm going to start calling the bear in for Dan. Kyler and AJ are up on the hill watching the bear. I've already started calling here, and you can see the bear looking over towards us. This is where Kyler was getting nervous that the bear was going to come to him. And right as the bear kind of comes back behind this tree is when I let on another squeal, and you'll see him just start running just barely before the clip ends. He was a pretty nice bear, but ultimately he was too small for what we were looking for. He was beautiful though, real cinnamon color. Right in here he starts running. There. He was coming pretty hard. Kyler was trying like heck to get video of him, but he just didn't have a view. So here you see that I've turned the camera to face downhill. Dan is about 40 yards on the other side of that tree that's on the right side of the screen. The bear is coming from the left. Pretty soon you're going to see the bear cross that little open spot between the two trees. As the bear nears the right side, all of a sudden he stops, and at that moment he's literally only feet from Daniel. I can't see what's going on, so I let out a squeal to try to hold the bear's attention and maybe give Dan another chance to maneuver for a shot. But right at the same time I squealed, the bear saw Dan and just boogied out of there and came running straight towards me. Well, folks, now that you got to see that clip, I hope you enjoyed that. It was super exciting for us. I wish the camera work was better, but we'll try and do that again another time with a little more planning. That happened so fast. The whole thing happened, like we got to the top, saw the bear, and everything was just a rush to try and get it done in a quick amount of time. So Kyler was the only one that even had a tripod with him in that moment. So his video was actually kind of good.
I think it was a total of 15 minutes between spotting the bear and having the bear 6 feet in front of your face.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Was that total time. So it was a quick move in, trying to figure out who's going to go where, what's going to do. And our adrenaline was pumping at the top just watching, because we could hear after the bear went running past them, we heard sticks breaking and stuff. And AJ and I were kind of iffy on the bear size when because we got a lot more time to sit up and watch it compared to them when they went down to try to put the sneak on it right away. And it was definitely something that our adrenaline was pumping, not knowing if they shot it, not knowing if they missed, not knowing what was going on. And it ended up they passed it up because it was a smaller bear.
Well, and all the crashing you heard, in the end of the video, you see him running through that pile of dead sticks, and that's what you guys heard.
Yeah, and so it sparked up our adrenaline. We were pumping. We were wanting to run down, not go down, not know what we were doing, and waited for a little bit, and then saw them again. Got the news.
I was kind of excited. You know, I was like, "Woo!"
yeah.
It was definitely an exciting time.
I took it off right over there, and I was so nice. Dude,